I'm thinking as I'm interviewing somebody who appears to be Steve Bartman, this is big time. I'm going to be on the evening news. I'm going to win an Emmy. This is nobody. We got an exclusive here. We got Steve Bartman after he cost the Cubs the chance to win Game 6. Of course, they lost Game 7. And the man who pranked me, the famous Howard Stern Show prank caller, Captain Janks, who joins us now. Captain.
Good morning.
Hey, buddy.
Morning, Dan. How are you?
Oh, spectacular. Taking a trip down memory lane. It only took 10 years to get over it, but I'm good now.
Yeah, and keep in mind that what you consider to be one of the worst moments of your career, I consider to be one of the best moments of my prank phone call career.
How did you prepare for this prank phone call?
Well, I knew everybody was looking for him, and so I basically came up with a paragraph or two stating from watching the news what the interviewers would be looking to ask him. So I basically made up answers to questions that I heard other people, figuring that they were going to ask him if they ever got him as an interview.
Did you ever get a hold of Steve Bartman?
Yes, I actually did get a hold. Now, this was back before there was a lot of social media and everything like that. So I found out the town he was from. And
wait a minute. Did you talk to him prior to the interview with me?
Yes, I did. Yes. That's how, because didn't you, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you come on the phone with me?
Yeah.
Right before I went on the air?
Yes, and I was going to ask you about, I think that Bartman went to Notre Dame, and I didn't know anything about his voice, and I was going to ask you about your alma mater, because then if you said something about Notre Dame or you didn't, then I would have known it was real or not.
Well, Bartman is a Stern fan. He knew what I was trying to do. And he was sick of the media, so not that he targeted any one specific organization out. So he was happy to help me out by giving me any information that I needed. And one of the things that he did tell me was that, his alma mater was Notre Dame. So when you asked me that, I knew the answer to that question.
So you and Bartman conspired?
Well, I wouldn't say conspired. I didn't tell him when I was going to do it or who I was going to do it to. I just basically, I had no idea at that point when I spoke to him. I only called you after CNN found me out and wouldn't take the call.
Oh, so you tried to go. Now, how did you get through to SportsCenter, get to the assignment desk, and convince them to put you on?
Well, because I have inside numbers to a lot of the news organizations, including SportsCenter, through previous prank calls or attempts. So I kind of had, I had the number to reach the control room and the producers of SportsCenter at the time, and that's the only way I was able to get through. And I basically just said, "This is Steve Bartman returning your phone call." So they thought, "Oh, well, who was it that called you?" I said, "I don't remember his name. It was just a message on my answer machine." So the guy that actually did try to get me for an interview, I guess was your producer, came on and said, "Is this Steve Bartman?" I just said, yeah, I'm just returning your call. So, basically they thought I was Steve Bartman based on the fact that I knew that they had already called him. I just slipped in and said that I was him. That's all.
He's Captain Janks. 10 years ago tonight on SportsCenter when we thought we had Steve Bartman on, and it was just Captain Janks. But what was you had to have an end game there of how long you carry on the interview since it's live, and you're going to get to the big moment when you mention Howard Stern's butt cheese.
Right. Well, I usually drop the Howard Stern bomb relatively early on. I don't like to keep people going because, obviously, it just gives them that much more of a chance to hang up on me. So before I say what the Howard Stern thing. So what I basically did was I wrote a paragraph out. And it just so happened that you kept asking me questions, so I just kept lying on top of it and on top of it. And that's basically how I planned on staying on for no more than a minute, and I think it was somewhere close to a minute and 15 seconds, something like that. But, one thing that I did know was that everybody was looking for him, so the most appropriate place that Steve Bartman would call in, if he was to call in, I thought would have been SportsCenter, even more than CNN or any of the other channels. So I thought it would be more believable if I called SportsCenter.
Sources tell me you were going to say something different than what you did about Howard Stern.
Yes, I cleaned it up a little bit. I mean, are you on any regular radio station?
Oh, we can't. No, this isn't a Stern-like format
right
here. But were you being nice to me that you didn't take it a little bit deeper?
Yeah, well, Dan, a lot of the people are bad-mouthing Howard before I make prank phone calls to them. I knew you were a fan, and I knew that you liked Howard, and I watched SportsCenter at the time all the time, so I had no problems with you, and I didn't want to make you look bad, so I kind of cleaned it up a little bit,
I appreciate that, I think, somehow, some
And,
way.
in 10 years, I did say on Howard Show when you won your FME for that call, I said, Dan Patrick is immune from my calls anymore. He will never get another prank phone call from me. That still stands today, and you are the only person. You have the distinction of being the only person that I have banned myself from making prank phone calls to because I do like you.
Have you made any other sports show phone calls, and anything sports related that was anywhere near Bartman?
Well, I actually did a prank phone call to Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter, I guess 2 years ago, when the Eagles had released, and I'm trying to think of his name again.
Brian Westbrook, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I told them that I was Brian Westbrook. I put on a fake black accent, and I got on the air and, had Scott Van Pelt on for at least 30, 40 seconds and then dropped the Howard Stern bomb at the end. And, but those were the only two that I ever did to SportsCenter. There's some local sports channel that I called, but none that were as high profile as the Bartman call that I did to you and the Scott Van Pelt.
Well, it's good to take a trip down memory lane. I'll talk to you in 10 years from now, Captain.
It is, and you know what, Dan? You still no more. I won't do any prank phone calls to you. Gary, Baba Booey over at Stern Show. I know he's a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
And I kind of just but it was fun while I did it, and there was never a problem that I had with you. I always liked you, and I'm glad that you take it in stride, and you get a laugh out of it nowadays because there was no bad intention.
What did Bartman, by the way, sound like when you talked to him? Was there any news that came out of that? I know that you're not a reporter, but I'd be curious how Bartman sounded when you're calling him after, a moment that changed his life.
Well, it wasn't that I actually spoke with him. It was through email that I spoke with him. I know that it was him because he told me stuff that nobody else could have known and things that did come out later on in time about him. But he was sick of all the media attention that he was getting at the time, and he is a Howard Stern fan. He knew of me on the show, so he was happy to help me out for anybody that I decided to punk on the issue. I think he was just as surprised that I did it to SportsCenter as you were, though.
Yeah, it's provolone cheese, by the way, for Howard Stern, just to let you know.
Right.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Well, there you go. I didn't know that he prepped for it by corresponding with Bartman. Now I don't feel as bad. Like, he did work hard to get to that point. And the fact that Bartman, not conspired, but he co-signed on this thing. Yes,
It's funny that there's actually a lot of prep work and legwork beforehand that goes into this.
Oh, man.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.